We're just trying to do what's right for the people of Guam.
So says Governor Eddie Calvo's communications director, Troy Torres, discussing a directive establishing a spending cuts task force. And at the top of their list, identifying $43 million in cuts from the general fund for annual operations. He says it's come to a point where cuts in spending still isn't enough for the government to live within its means and aren't adequate in order for the government to ensure tax refunds and vendors are paid on time.
If we don't do something meaningful about it, the government will no longer be solvent and the priority services will be in jeopardy.
Of the $43 million, he proposes using $13 million to reinvest into the implementation of hay raises, with the majority of the remaining $30 million in spending cuts in permanent reduction in expenditures. Additionally, Governor Calvo hoped that the other instrumentalities and branches such as the Guam Legislature, the Judiciary, and the Department of Education also cut spending by another $10 million. The administration, meanwhile, will look at making macro-type cuts, including blanket benefits, which will most likely amount to millions in savings. However, of the total $43 million in cuts, it will surely result in layoffs of government employees.
I also want to assure the people that the task force will consider layoffs as the last possible option. Unfortunately, with a cut as big as $43 million, it has to be.
The directive offers an early out retirement incentive for displaced employees who are within 5 years of retirement, and job skills training programs and tuition assistance for other displaced workers. Vice Speaker B.J. Cruz, meanwhile, says he's glad something is being done about helping the government and agrees that not all of the cuts should be layoffs.
I want us to figure out some other ways to be able to find $43 million in savings, whether or not it's right-sizing government by procuring better, or whether or not it means addressing other sacred cows.
He says the legislature has already done some cost-saving measures, and even with its $7 million budget, it doesn't necessarily mean that more cuts shouldn't be made to the legislature as well. And as the vice chair of the Fiscal Responsibility and Tax Refunds Commission, better known as the Deficit Elimination Commission, he questions the timing and invitation of this meeting, considering the commission has only met once.
Because the last time we met was before they went to the bond market last time, and there's now another meeting before they go to the bond market again next week. I want this to be a continuing process, not something that is just put on for show before we go to the bond market and then dies.
Ultimately, Torres says the hardest part about moving forward with this directive is knowing future decisions are going to affect GovGuam employees and their families.
This is not just about slashing and cutting. This is about reinventing the government so that it works to provide excellence and service to the priority services that the people expect from us.